Hello viewers, this is October 2023's edition of Telephones in My House. We're starting off here in the media room. I've decided to try this telephone set one more time before I write it off as complete and total junk. This is the Panasonic KXTGF570 telephone. I originally bought this telephone set for my grandparents to use at their house because there became a time where my grandmother was alleging that certain calls, both live and on the answer machine, were not clear anymore. At the time they had the unit in 1580 over here. And so I went over there, I checked out the phone, it seemed fine to me, and ultimately the problem was the callers. And so I tried to explain to her that it's not an issue with the phones, nor is it an issue that can be fixed. It's an issue with people calling from garbage phones. And so I was there, I took my cell phone and I called and recorded a message from my cell phone, and it was clear. And then I took my grandfather's stupid iPhone and I called and recorded a message from his phone, and it was horrible. It was garbled and you couldn't hear what I was saying. And so I says, this is what I'm talking about. It's a function of the people that call and the quality of his or her telephone. The call quality of the iPhone seems to vary drastically. Some of the calls sound okay, and then some of them are just totally unintelligible. I don't know if it's a function of the way people hold the phones, or I know some people put those covers over them. My grandfather has a cover over his phone, and his phone is awful. So maybe that messes up the microphone or something. I don't know. I don't know and I don't care. I hate the iPhone. I don't get involved in that. But that was the problem. It was a caller issue, not a telephone issue. But she was insistent upon getting a new set of telephones. So for their anniversary, I got them this telephone, which I hadn't used extensively myself, but another relative had one and seemed fine from what I had used of it. So I got them this telephone, and it seemed to be okay for a little while, and then the complaints started coming in that the volume was too low. So I go back over here and check it again, and I agreed that the volume's kind of low. The speakerphone volume. The speakerphone volume seemed to be low on all of the handsets except for the waterproof phone, which is this one. So I ended up replacing the set again. This time I went with a set of Clarity amplified telephones, and those have been nothing short of fantastic. My grandfather doesn't hear too well anymore, and when I talk on those phones with him, it's fantastic because he hears everything I say. It's great. They're excellent phones, very clear, very loud, and they work perfectly in that environment. Those phones have been in service for about 3 years now, and there's been no complaints. So that's that for that situation. So now I have this phone. I've been stuck with this phone. I don't know what to do with it. I remembered I used it for a short period of time when I took it back, and I remembered that the speakerphone on this was totally unusable because the pickup on this just didn't work. That's how I would describe it. It doesn't work. And I remember the speakerphone volume on the regular handsets was also kind of low. It wasn't to the point where I couldn't use it, but it was definitely quieter than it should be. And I didn't use them for too long. And I came across them in the basement the other day, and I figured I'd give them another try, because sometimes you use something and then you make it out to be worse than it really is in your mind. It's just a phenomenon that the mind tends to do. So I put these out again, and let's see if they were as bad as I remember. And unfortunately they're even worse than I remembered. The speakerphone on this set is just unusable. It might as well not even exist. It's unusable on these regular handsets because the volume is too low. In a completely silent environment like this, it's okay. You can hear it, but it's like you got to listen closely. If there's any background noise, forget it. Outside, forget it. I try to talk outside even on a quiet day. It's not noisy around here. Quiet. Quiet environment outside. You have to keep it within a couple inches of your ear in order to be able to hear it, which defeats the purpose of a speakerphone. So, speakerphone, totally unusable on this handset. And then on this phone, the speakerphone is totally unusable because the pickup on this does not work. The pickup on talk mode is fine, perfectly clear. In fact, it's so sensitive you can put the phone down and step back from it 10 feet and still be heard. But the moment you switch it to speakerphone, it's just, it doesn't pick up anymore. You have to speak within an inch or two of it and shout, otherwise it's just garbled, and even then it sounds like you're underwater. So the speakerphone does not work on this handset for that reason, and it doesn't work good on there either. And it's weird because I think both of these issues are software issues, because the ringer volume and the speaking caller ID on this phone is reasonably loud, and the call volume is maybe half of it. And it's the same thing on here. The microphone works fine itself because it picks up clearly on talk, but the programming for speakerphone is unusable. So it's very unfortunate, because otherwise the set has a lot of neat features to it, particularly the integration of the cell phone. I'm not a big cell phone talker myself. In fact, it's very seldom I actually have a conversation on the cell phone, but I don't keep it with me when I'm home. I just set it down in the kitchen, or half the time I even leave it in the car. And so when I'm home and I get a call on my cell phone or I get a message, I usually miss it because I just don't hear it. And so to have the cell phone be able to ring throughout the house on these phones, as well as indicate when a text message comes in, is very handy. But again, if the volume is too low, it doesn't really make much of a difference. So just to show the volume difference, I'm going to make a call here, and we're going to switch between this phone and this phone. You're going to hear the difference, because the outcoming, or the incoming rather, audio on this is plenty loud. So it's really bizarre. So here we go. We'll call the Farmer Jones code line. Turn it all the way up.
Farms and Winery, where we've been out in the fields this season, busy working among our pumpkins and vineyard. This is the updated message for the week. Message on Tuesday, October 17th for the days ahead. I want to let you know that our pumpkin seed,
terrible audio quality,
one of our 3 farm locations, is open for pumpkins daily from 10 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. The address there is 120.
This is like a normal volume level for a good speakerphone.
Is on our website, jonesfamilyfarms.com. In addition to the
That's
daily
clear.
10 a.m. through 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, October 18th, we'll have extended
This is
hours
quiet and muffled.
30 p.m. Maybe take a sunset hayride at the farm. And when we are open on Saturday and Sunday, we are open at 9 a.m.
So, for whatever reason, volume is no good on there. It's a shame, but that's the way it is. And it's not a defective set. I actually purchased a second one of these from a different retailer months later, and it was the same way. And I've ended up with another 1 or 2 of these phones over the years, and they're just as bad. So, bad design, bad software design, I guess, I don't know. And interestingly enough, this speakerphone problem on here exists on another set that I've used that Panasonic made recently. So I don't know what it is with Panasonic and the speakerphones, but they're just no good anymore. And it's weird because if you look through the reviews, you don't find a lot of people complaining about the speakerphone, and it's got to be because people just don't use speakerphone anymore. That's the only thing I can think of. But anyways, that's kind of a digression. So that's the story with these. I'll use them for a little while because I like the cell phone features and everything, but speakerphone is just unusable. Over here we still have the VTech 6763, which ironically has an absolutely phenomenal speakerphone. In the bedroom we have another inaudible Panasonic cordless telephone, a VTech 5881 handset, the Uniden EXAI 7980 900 megahertz with extended range, and a Uniden DCX 150. Good old reliable telephone. Those telephones and this telephone, actually these as well, are all very reliable telephones. Here in the computer room we have a Uniden D1483 in white, and we have another Panasonic inaudible, a General Electric large button memory phone, which is very yellowed. Had that phone for a long time, and another VTech 5.8 gigahertz 6763 handset. Here in the bathroom we have the Uniden DWX 207 waterproof cordless telephone. In the kitchen we have the VTech 5881 base and extension, as well as another Panasonic inaudible. In the dining room we have the Uniden DECT 1580 base. In the living room we have an AT&T 5710 cordless telephone. We have another Panasonic inaudible, and I believe this is a Cortelco. Yep, a Cortelco 2500 set, and the VTech 6763 base. Over by the couch we have another Uniden DCX 150, and by the lamp we have the VTech color display handset. Downstairs in the studio we have a GTE branded 2554 telephone, along with a Western Electric Bell Systems dual gong ringer. And then I also have this Uniden DWX 337 waterproof telephone just sitting over there. Eventually I'll move it over to the table when I get it cleaned off and the computer set up. In the laundry area we have another Uniden DCX 150, which I will also eventually get a better situation for. Lastly, here in the garage we have a Cortelco 2554 and a wheel lock, very loud bell ringer, which will probably be pretty much a permanent fixture in here. And then on the cordless side of things we have a Uniden DWX 207 and the Panasonic unable to be heard on waterproof telephone. And both of them here because if I really need to make an important call or receive an important call, I'm going for that one.